Speech off.
Hi everybody, it's Beverly at Bama Blind, and I'm back to talk about day 2 of the Seeing Eye, where I got my guide dog Gretchen. Prior to that, I walked with a cane for 5 years, and prior to that, I walked without any assistance. So I just thought I would tell anyone that's interested out there about my most exciting part of the second day that I was in training in New Jersey. And that was to meet the most awesome people who were my classmates, the other trainees, the other students, and they were all blind like me. And although I've had a lot of experience with working, with the blind, working around the blind, I worked at a center for the blind. It's been many years since I've been in a place that the majority of people were blind, and they were all like as blind as me. So, that not 20 over 200, although you can get a guide dog if your vision is, 20 over 200. There's no rule about that. It has to do with your functional mobility. And anyway, so the second day there, I got to meet 15 other awesome people. They were all visually impaired, severely visually impaired, enough to the point that it impaired their mobility. They were from many different age groups. So we had about 4 that were in their 20s. We had about 4 that were in their late 30s to very, very early 40s. We didn't have anybody in their 40s, I don't think at all. We had 4 of us that were in our 50s, and most were all almost the same age. Then we had 3 that were 70, and we had 1 that was older than 80. And so you can see where there's a long span of representation for different people that are blind who are interested in working with guide dogs. Some of the people, this was their very first guide dog. Now, I was one of the older students, but it was my first guide dog because I had functional vision up until about age 50 to 53, something like that. Then we had one man that was 70, and he was getting his 5th or 6th dog because he had had a dog ever since he was 18. So the dynamics, the second day that we were there, we did a little Juno walking. We're divided up into very, very small groups. There were like 3 of us in each group, or 4 in some groups. And we went on a Juno walk, which is walking with a pretend harness being guided by one of the trainers. And of course, when you go to these places, there's no cooking or anything like that. You have these awesome, delicious gourmet meals. And I found myself just wanting to sit around and talk with everybody. And they get you up, you go and you eat these awesome meals they serve you. And then you get up and you go to another lecture, or you go outside for more training or more orientation or exposure to some of the things that I know I have not been exposed to since it was my first dog. And I'll show you, because right here on this hook here, I have hanging a leash, and they showed us how to put the leash into 3 different lengths. So a short leash, a 3/4 leash, and a long leash. And I have never even used a dog leash ever, ever, ever. Never had a dog except for when I was a little kid, and they didn't even have leash laws back then. So, and then here's a harness. They had a harness sitting in our room. They had everything on hooks like these here. And so it's all organized in the leash. And so they taught us how to do that. And then we were all really excited because this was the day before we were getting our dogs. But we were all excited because they put out these bowls. I'll show you what it looks like. They put out some big, huge bowls like this. And this is like 14 inches across. So we go, wow, these are some big dogs. I'm telling you, we'd never even touched them the second day. So the first and second day, you're at Seeing Eye, you don't get a dog. They also put out these grooming tools here. Here's a brush, very, it brushes their undercoat, and then there's like a polishing brush, and then there's a comb. And all of us, like I had some roommates next to me. You get an individual room yourself, but I had a roommate next to me, and we were looking at these things going, God, what do you do with the comb? The dog, it's not going to have that long of a hair. So we were just really clueless that second day, but because it was the 24th, and that's why I'm doing this. This is October 24th. We were all saying to ourselves that this is kind of like December 24th. It was like Christmas Eve, and we couldn't wait for the next day to come so that we would get our dogs assigned to us. At this point, the only thing we had actually experienced was hearing the dogs over this tall hedge, and they were in their kennels and they were being worked, as we were there the first and second day. And the trainers would evaluate our skills as we went out, into the community with our Juno walks, with our mock walk-ups, and they were, identifying our gaits and how fast we went and our height and the stride that we took so that they could match us with the appropriate dog. We don't get to pick out our dog. They pick out the dog for you. And then we all, met late that night for a wine and cheese gathering, and got to know each other a little bit more. I realized that we had people, we had 3 students from Canada, one from Vancouver, one from Calgary, I believe, one from Ontario, and we had a couple from Pennsylvania. We had 2 from Ohio. I'm from Alabama. We had one from California, one from Wyoming, one from Colorado. So that kind of tells you that they came from all over the place. And to me, the most fun part about that second day, because I just couldn't stand the anticipation of, not getting the dog yet. But I loved meeting all of these new people. We had 8 females and I believe 7 or 8 males. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what it's like when you leave home and you go away and you are waiting for your dog and you get to meet and be around other people that are just like you. Some are completely blind with no light perception. Some are blind with some light perception. And then there were some that had some pretty good visual acuity and very, very restricted field of vision. So, there's just the whole gambit. And there was one individual that was blind/deaf. So she heard some and she saw some, but she got, very, very good one-on-one training and even training back at her home. Many of the students there had other issues, like, of course, you can be blinded from diabetic retinopathy. So we had people there with diabetes. We had people there with some orthopedic issues. So they work with everybody. They just work with whatever you've got. If you've got the will and the desire and the mobility skills, they will absolutely work with you. So I just thought on this anniversary, this 2-year anniversary of me getting Gretchen, I thought I would give some more information kind of about what, the initial couple of days was like, and I will update these vlogs every day or so because it's very exciting, and I would like to show some of the things that I have learned with a guide dog that I did not know with a cane. So I will talk to you soon, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.